Good afternoon.
Afternoon, doctor.
Okay, so before we start with the next chapter, we already complete chapter simulation. Okay, so next chapter is chapter 15, decision analysis. So before that, I would like to inform you test one, sorry. The tutorial for chapter 11, 12, and 13 is already available in the Putra Blast. Okay, so by tomorrow, I will share all the videos, pre-recorded video. I cannot, I try to find one of our lecture, but I cannot find the video. So maybe I will share my pre-recorded video for the last semester with you. One chapter, I think is about integer linear optimization. The video is missing. I cannot remember whether I save or not, I record or not the lecture, but I cannot find the video. Okay, and then this is week 9. Okay, so week 11, by week 11 we will have a second test weekend. Okay, Saturday and Sunday available, and you, as usual, you have 2 hours to complete your the test. Okay, right? The test, the question similar to like the tutorial exercise that you complete for these 3 chapters. Okay. Week 11, Saturday and Sunday. So this is week 9. So week 11 means that 11 and 12 June. Okay. But test available for 2 days, but you, once you start, you have to complete within 2 hours. Okay, please remember that tutorial is different from the test one. You complete tutorial doesn't mean that you complete your test one. Okay, I have 3 students does not complete your test one, so your marks is 0. Okay, I don't know what is the reason, because you does not contact me. I think I already informed in the class, in the group, and another 60 students can complete the test. So that's not problem from me. That is your problem. Okay. Okay, so continue with the next chapter. Okay, so start from this chapter, chapter 15, and then 6, 7, 8, it will cover for final exam. Okay, so final exam, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, okay, so you all of you is not in Malaysia, isn't it? How many of you in Malaysia? I think only 2. You, Akbar, Malaysia, and then another 2 students, isn't it? In Malaysia. Afla in Malaysia. What else? I mean, only a few students. Majority of you is in international. So, oh, okay. This is the different situation. So let me check, because final exam is and my another class, the final exam will be a face-to-face, but should be face-to-face. It's okay. The formatting for final exam later I will explain. Okay. Because in my mind I said I want to cite a final exam for face-to-face. The face-to-face exam question and online question must be different. Okay. So let me. Oh, you Christiana in Malaysia. All right. Okay. Okay, after this I will do some survey. I want to see how many of you in Malaysia. So if so many, if half, then for those who in Malaysia, we'll have a face-to-face. I mean that a face-to-face final exam, and another student will have an online student. Different question, but different instruction or the requirement quite different. Okay. Okay, so chapter 15 here. So this is starting from this chapter until at the end lah, until the last chapter. No more Excel analysis in Excel. It's more on manual because we get ready for on paper exam. Okay, so more I will show you more on manual calculation. Okay, right? Okay, so another decision, quantitative decision, is that you have to make a decision for business using a quantitative method. Is that I call it as this tools is decision analysis. Okay, all right. So decision analysis ni to helps the business to make an optimal to choose the best alternative from a few the best alternative. Okay. If you have a few alternatives, then you have to select the best one. So from that, how to select one of the tools is use this decision analysis, so that the the decision maker can make a better decision. Okay, so in decision analysis, in this tool, we consider the risk. Okay, normally we would like to reduce the risk. Okay, when we make a decision. Okay, using this decision analysis, this tool is they consider the risk and then try to reduce the risk when they make a decision. Okay, when they select the alternative. Okay, all right. So when you do the risk analysis, okay, then the information the information that we need to consider is that either the result is favorable or unfavorable result. Okay, the outcomes, either the outcomes that you like or that you don't favor lah. Okay, the outcome. So you have to consider both. Okay, when we make a result based make a decision based on the risk. Okay, all right. That I said, decision analysis. You can use this tool if you have a few alternatives. Okay, or more than one lah. If you only have one solution, then there's no alternative, then you don't have to do analysis because it's only one. Okay, one or two more than one solution, then no alternative, then you don't have to do some analysis. But if you have more analysis and you want to make you want to select from this solution, from this alternative, the solution, then you consider based on the risk, then you can use this tool. Okay, all right. So in this chapter, okay, so the topic we will discuss is that only one. Okay, for this syllabus, only based on payoff table. Okay. Payoff table and decision tree. Okay, I will not cover for sensitivity and use and Bayes theorem. Okay, all right. So for using a payoff table, okay, first we will understand the problem of formulation, and then we visualize the problem using a decision tree, and then we go to the techniques. Okay, all right. So okay, in decision analysis here, the process here, the first step is the first one. First, you must have a verbal statement. Okay, you must have the verbal statement for the problem. Okay, verbal. What is the problem? Okay, from this verbal statement. Okay, based from this one, you have to identify the decision alternative. What is the alternative that you have? Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so identify the decision alternative. From this alternative, you will select one decision only. Okay, all right. And then based from this decision, when we want to make a decision, you may consider based on the risk. Okay, so risk, how you get risk, you have to consider that the future events, the outcomes. Okay, the outcomes, the uncertain outcomes. Okay, so because based on the situation. Okay, so if you want to make an investment, you want to invest, so you have a few portfolio, then you have to consider the outcomes from the future. So when you want to consider, you have to consider, you have to take the favorable and unfavorable events. For me, favorable and unfavorable outcome. You have to consider both. That is we call it as a uncertain event. Okay, decision future events. Okay, the future events is something that you cannot control. Okay, the economic situation, economic condition, whether it will grow or decline, you cannot control that one. Okay, so future events normally you cannot control that. Okay, so student keep asking me, I just want to wait until the end. Okay, well, it's okay because you already asked me. The password for attendance is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so to understand, we want to go through to create to formulate the problem. Okay, so we use this PDC, Pittsburgh Development Corporation, as illustration. Okay. Okay, so PDC. Okay, so this is PDC is commission preliminary architecture drawings for 3 different projects. So this is the alternative. Okay, so they have 3 different projects. It's considered 3 different projects. The first project is 30 condominiums. The second one is 60 condominiums, and the last one is 90 condominium. Okay, they consider these 3 alternative projects. Okay, either they want to go with a 30 condominiums or 60 condominiums or 90 condominiums. Okay, the outcome, the successful of this project ni, financial success ni, it depends to the size of condominium here, 30, 60 or 90 ni, the size, and also the event, future event concerning the demand for the condominiums. That is the issues they should consider when they want to make a decision. Okay, so then this should include lah. So it means that after they finish their project, then they have to consider the demand. Okay, so demand for 30 condominium, demand for 60 and 90. Okay, all right, and also based on the size, the outcomes for this project. Okay, so PDC, the statement of the PDC decision is to select the size of the new luxury condominium project that will lead to the largest profit given the uncertainty concerning the demand for the condominium. So the decision is to select the size, which is the outcome that we will get with the largest profit. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is what we call a verbal statement. Okay, so you must have a verbal statement. So a decision alternative is that whether to build a 30 condominium, 60 or 90 condominium. Okay, right. So this is the decision 3. So then they say small complex, which is for 30 with a 30 condominiums, medium complex 60 condominium, and large complex with a 90 condominiums. Okay, and then they assign the variables here to represent small, medium, and large. Decision 1, decision 2, and decision 3. Decision 1 for small, decision 2 for medium, decision 3 for large complex. Okay, so D1, D2, and D3. So this is alternative, 3 alternative. So which decision based on the outcome, based on the profit. Okay. Okay, so when they want to make a decision, they have a few the possible outcomes based on the chance of event or future events here, when we refer as a state of nature here. Okay, the situation here is that the state of nature are mutually exclusive, means that no more than one can occur. Okay, only one. And collectively exhaustive, means that at least one must occur. So no more than one, that and at least one means that it must be at least one situation lah. Okay, there must be a situation, only one and the only one. Okay, all right. Okay, so in this case, base concern a demand. Okay, so because of base the events or future events, the situation that they cannot control is based on demand. So it's either strong demand or weak demand. This one you cannot control. The decision maker cannot control, but they can estimate. Okay, so because the outcome to based on demand, so either strong or weak demand. Okay, so as ni refer to state of nature 1 and state of nature 2, strong and weak demand. Some decision, some problem might have more than 2, maybe 3, 4, or 5 state of nature or future events. So depends to the problem that you want to find the solution. Okay, so in this case, for learning purpose, we use a very simple one: 3 decision and 2 state of nature. Okay, then we put in the payoff table. You already calculate based on the sales whatsoever, then you got this, you get this table. Okay, payoff table, right? Okay, so this is the combination. Okay, so payoff outcome is from combination of alternative and also state of nature. Okay, so they found out that when if the company decide for small complex, okay, so the outcome, okay, so outcome in the event, if at that time is a strong demand, then they will get the outcome 8 million profit lah. So this is a profit lah, okay, 8 million profit. If at that time is a weak demand, so then they will get only 7 million. Okay. If they decide to select medium complex, and at that time is strong demand, so they estimated to get about 14 million. And if at that time, is a weak demand, they only get a 5 million. Remember, state of nature, only one and the only one. Okay, cannot more than one and cannot less than one. One must is either strong or weak demand only. Cannot be both. Okay. All right. So now they want to make a decision based on this profit value. Okay. So this is what we call payoff, because already calculate whatever based on, because in this case the outcome based on the profit, so then they calculate how they get this profit. Okay. Alright, so if they decide to select large complex, so at that time it's a strong demand, then they will get a profit, a return of profit at 20 million. But if at that time it's a weak demand, so they will lose 9 million. Okay. All right. So if a strong demand, they will get higher profit. And if there is a weak demand, so high risk, okay, high return and high risk. Okay. Small complex is okay, average only. Okay. Low risk. Okay. Medium complex also medium risk lah. Okay. But large complex is high return and high risk. Okay. So which one that this company PDC would like to select? Small, medium, or large? This is only their decision, either small, medium, or large. They cannot decide whether strong demand or weak demand. This is uncertain future event. It depends. So let's say if they decide to build for large complex, then at that time is a weak demand. So then they have to get to bear for the loss about 9 million lah. Okay. All right. Okay, now we will transfer this table. Okay, so this table to visualize using a decision tree. Okay, so we want to visualize that payoff table too using a graphical presentation, which is a decision tree. Okay, all right. Okay. So this is how you draw a decision tree. You cannot change this one, the square, what we call that? The design here, this one. Okay, you should start with the square. You cannot change it to circle. Okay, this is standardized. This is the format here for decision tree. Square is for your decision when you want to make a decision. Okay. A circle for state of nature means that the branch after square is your decision. The branch after circle is for state of nature. Okay, all right. So in this case, you want to make a decision whether small, medium, or refer to this or large complex. Okay, so that is your decision. So before you draw the branch, so you have to draw a square. Okay, so square with a 3 decision means that with a 3 branch. Okay, 3 branch here. Okay, so the first one is a small complex D1, mediums complex, and large complex. Okay, remember the branch after square is for decision. Okay. All right, so after small decision, you have to consider 3 state of nature. Okay, 2 state of nature, strong and weak demand, 2 state of nature. Then you have to draw, before you draw the branch for state of nature, then you have to draw circle first. Okay, circle for the before you draw branch for small, medium, and large, you have to draw circle. Okay, all right, so the branch after circle is for state of nature, strong and weak, strong. And then the outcome here is 8 and 7 based on this table. Okay, small, complex, strong demand 8, small, complex, and weak demand is 7. Okay. Okay, small, complex, strong demand 8 million. This is the outcome here. Small demand, small complex, weak demand is 7 million. Okay. The second decision, you have two future events also, state of nature, strong and weak, and this is the outcome, 14 and 5 million. Okay, so based on this table, again, okay, 14 and 5. And then large and complex also have two state of nature, strong and weak demand. Okay, and the outcome is 20 and -9. Okay, so this is how you transfer this the payoff table to decision 3. Okay, first you should start with your decision, final decision. After decision, if you have state of nature, then you have to draw circle. Okay, after branch after square is for decision. Okay, all right, so this decision here. Okay. Okay, so two technique for decision analysis is without probabilities and with probabilities. So first, now I will show you decision analysis without probabilities. Okay, without probabilities, decision analysis without probabilities, you have a lot of approach actually. Okay, all right. So in this syllabus, I will focus only to these three. Okay, optimistic, conservative, and minimax regret approach. These three only. A lot of approach actually. Okay, right? You can find it in the textbook or anywhere. Okay. Okay, so the condition when you want to use without this, you want to do analysis without probabilities, when I mean that when in the situation that you can just use a simple best and worst case analysis, then you can use without probabilities, like a simple case only. Okay, and also that, let's say you there's I mean that the probability itself, you want to assess to the probability is very difficult. So you are not sure whether you can get the correct estimation for your probabilities or not, then it's better for you to not consider the probabilities, means that without probabilities. Okay, so the possibility without probabilities means that the possibility for strong demand and weak demand is equal. Okay, probability that at that time is a strong demand and weak demand, you consider as equal. None of it have more probabilities compared to the others. Okay, so first I look into the optimistic approach. Okay, so we have three, optimistic, pessimistic, and minimax regret. Okay, all right, so first optimistic approach. Okay, so optimistic approach evaluates the decision alternative in terms of the best payoff can occur. Okay, they will select best from the best. Okay, they will consider the best, and then from that best to they will from best for each alternative. Okay, so the best, they will consider the outcome to is the best value only. So based from that value too, they will select the best. Okay, so means that the best from the best. Okay, so from the optimistic here. Okay, so for minimization problem, okay, minimization problem, the best means that the smallest payoff lah. Minimization, of course, you would like to minimize the cost, minimize the time or then you should select the smallest payoff. Okay, but if the maximization, then you will select the highest value. Okay, the highest payoff. Okay, so in the PDC problem, this problem name, okay, the optimistic approach will lead to this alternative. Okay, okay, so before I go in, check. Okay, so for best for this one to use the optimistic approach, okay. Okay, for first decision, okay, so for first decision first alternative, you have to compare the value from strong demand or weak demand. Which one is the best? Okay, so for small complex, the best is 8 million. Okay, so in this case, in this example, of course, in the example, strong demand, we get the better profit lah compared to weak demand. Okay, so in some decision, they probably have sometimes first state of nature can have highest value. Sometimes in the certain alternative have second state of nature highest value. Okay, different to depends to the decision that you want to make. In this case, of course, we can see that all the best value is in the strong demand. So you will consider that, means that as for those who optimistic, okay, they will consider only this payoff value. Okay, small complex 8 million, they will get 8 million. If they build a medium complex, you will get back 14 million, and large complex 20 million. If the person, a decision maker using optimistic approach, they will not consider this weak demand. Okay, they will focus only on strong demand. Okay, so that's why you list all the best pay off. Okay, so from this one, you will consider the best. You consider the best pay off only from this three alternative. You will consider the best one. So the best from here, you get 8, 14, and 20. So the best from the best or maximum from the maximum is 20 million. So 20 million. So means that 20 million, your decision is to select large complex. Okay, so this is 20 million is not your decision. Your decision is to select large complex. This is only to help you to do analysis value, to help to do analysis. Your decision is to select the large complex. Okay, to select the project, the large complex project. Okay, 90 condominium. Okay, so that is the best optimistic approach. The maximum from the maximum. Consider the maximum value from each alternative. Then from that maximum, you will select the maximum one. So choose the maximum from the maximum. That's why maximum of the maximum, or the best from the best. Okay. All right. Okay, with the optimistic approach. Okay, so the second approach is conservative approach. Okay, so conservative approach. Alright, so conservative ni, for those who use a conservative approach, they will alternatively they will consider the worst payoff here. Okay, the worst payoff. That one is select the best payoff, but in a conservative approach ni, we select the worst payoff. Okay, and then they will select from that worst to, they will select the best of the worst. Okay, first consider the worst payoff, and then select the best one from the worst too. Okay, try to minimize the worst lah. Okay. Alright, so for minimization, if the other side, the minimization means that the other way lah. Okay, so they will consider the minimum from the maximum. Okay, means that the highest value best, and that's why they use not highest on it, they use the worst. Okay, so the worst for the cost is the highest cost. Okay, then from the highest cost, they will consider the lowest from the highest. Okay, right, so that is for minimization problem. Okay, so then in this problem, PDC problem ni, the conservative approach would lead decision to choose the alternative that maximize the minimum possible profit that could be obtained. Okay, all right, so go back to this table here. Okay, so for conservative approach here, okay, say they will consider the worst for each alternative. For small complex, the worst is 7. Medium complex is 5. The large complex is they consider -9. Okay, so they will look into the worst thing will happen for each alternative. Okay, so this one they will not consider in decision making. Okay, all right. Then you list all the worst value here. From this worst value, you the decision maker will select the best from this the worst. Okay, so in this case the best is 7 million. Okay, the maximum from the minimum means that using the conservative approach, they will select the small complex. Okay, okay, small complex here. Okay, 7 million, the value here just to do some analysis. Okay, not your decision is 7 million, your decision is small complex. 7 million here, this value is just for you to do analysis. Your decision is either small, medium, or large. Okay, so using the conservative approach, they will select a small complex with a return 7 million. Okay, all right, so the best of the worst using a conservative approach. Okay. Okay, so we'll continue with the next okay, so next, the last approach for without for probabilities is that a minimax regret approach. Okay, so minimax regret approach ni, first you have to consider the regret value. Okay, so you make a decision based on the regret value, not the payoff value. Okay, all right, so regret value ni, okay, so here regret value is the difference between the payoff associated with a particular decision alternative and the payoff associated with the decision that would yield the most desirable payoff for a given state of nature. Okay, you consider that if you see the difference between the possibility for you to get that outcomes compare with the possibility that you get the highest, the best outcome for that. Or sometimes in accounting, we refer or the term that we use is opportunity loss. Okay, that is a regret. It's not your loss, but that is you lost the opportunity to get that value. Okay, so that is a regret. Okay, all right. Okay, so in this minimax regret approach ni, under this approach, okay, so the decision maker choose the decision alternative that minimize the maximum state of regret. They try to minimize the maximum your opportunity loss. Okay, minimize the maximum state of regret that could occur over all possible state of nature. Okay, they try to minimize the opportunity loss. Okay, minimize the maximum opportunity loss. Okay, all right. So, all right. So this is original table here. Okay, so original table in the state of in this first you have to consider for each state of nature. You look at into state. Okay, it's strong demand. If at that time is a strong demand. Okay, after you finish, during the process too, when you want to sell that your condominium, at that time is a strong demand. Okay, so the best outcome you will get is 20 million. Okay, 20 million, the best one. Okay, all right, 20 million. If at that time is a strong demand, the best thing you will get, the best you can get is 20 million. If you select the large complex, okay? But if you select the small complex, okay? let's say you already make a decision for select a small complex 30 condominium, then you will get only 8 million. But actually at that time you have a chance to get about 20 million if you select large complex. But because of you already make a decision, okay, to be on this small complex, then you get only 8 million. Then you already have a loss value. The difference to opportunity loss, you have opportunity loss about 12 million. Okay, 20 here, the maximum value minus 8. That is a regret value. Okay, same as a medium complex. Okay, if that time is a strong demand, so that you are possible to get 20 million, but because of you already make a decision to be a medium complex, then you only get a 14 million. So you lost the opportunity to get another 6 million. You're not lost, but you just lost the opportunity to get another additional value. Okay, all right, so that is a regret value. Okay, so for the last one, you don't have any regret value lah. 20 minus 20. Okay, so strong pula. Sorry, this is not strong demand. Okay, so weak demand. So if at that time is a weak demand, so the best value that you can get is 7 million. Okay, so 7 million and then 7 minus 7, then there is no opportunity loss lah. Of course, if you select the small complex, but if you select the medium complex, then you have the opportunity loss about 2 million. 7 million here minus 5 million. Okay. And also that if you select the large complex, so then you will lose the opportunity to get another 16 million. 7 plus a minus negative 9. Okay, so this is a regret table. Okay, based on this previous one. So you have before you select your decision, you have to convert the payoff table to the regret or opportunity loss table here. Okay, all right, small complex 12, and then again this is not strong, weak demand. Okay, weak demand. Okay. All right, so this is only regret. You have a mini-max regret. Okay, so for that one is for using a strong based on state of nature. So next is based using a alternative. Okay, so you will consider the maximum opportunity loss. Okay, you try to minimize the maximum opportunity loss. Okay, so now you consider the maximum opportunity loss. Okay. All right, so for small complex, 12 million, consider the highest value. Medium complex, compared to 6 and 2, you select the highest one. The value that you consider in decision making. Okay, so large complex, the highest one is 16. Okay, all right, so this is the highest opportunity loss. Consider only the highest regret. Okay, so you would like to try to minimize the highest regret. Okay, okay, so in this case, you already select the highest regret. Then from these 3 alternatives, select the lowest regret. Okay, all right, so the lowest one is 6 million. Okay, so in this case, the lowest regret value is 6 million. Then based from this mini-max regret, you will select the medium complex. Okay, medium complex as your decision using a mini-max regret approach. Oops. Okay, so optimistic. This is optimistic will be a large complex. Pessimistic, a small complex, and mini-max regret. Okay, mini-max regret approach will select the medium complex. Okay, try to minimize the maximum regret. Okay, so the decision using a minimax regret is that try to minimize the maximum regret. Okay, okay, that's all for without probabilities. Any question? Okay, no question. I think we take a break. Give me a break for 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and we will start again after this without probabilities after that. Okay? All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, we will continue with decision make analysis with probabilities. Okay?
Doctor,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, doctor. Can you please go back to the previous slide?
Please what?
Go back to the previous slide.
Previous slide. Okay. This one.
Yeah, doctor. Can you repeat how to measure that we decide to choose the medium one? Firstly, is the highest, and also the second one is.
Oh, okay. So until the how you create the minimum, so the regret table, you understand, isn't it?
Understand, doctor.
Okay, so this is the regret table. So from this regret table, every alternative select the highest regret, the maximum regret for each alternative. So in this case, for small complex, means that for you to make a decision, the decision maker only consider a highest regret. Okay, the highest regret for each alternative. So for small complex, the highest regret is 12 million. To consider, okay, this is for consideration, not to make a decision, to consider. So first they will consider that 12 million only, the highest regret for small complex. For medium complex, compare 6 and 2 million. So 6 is the highest regret for mediums complex. Okay, so the highest opportunity loss. And for the large complex, is the highest one is 16 million compared to 0 lah, of course. Okay, 16 million. So this is the highest regret for each alternative. Okay, so based from this highest regret, decision maker will select the minimum highest regret, the minimum from the highest regret, the maximum regret. Okay, the minimum from the highest. So from this 12, 6, and 16, the minimum regret is 6 million. Okay, so in this case, using the minimax regret, the decision maker will select the medium complex.
Okay, doctor, understand. Thank you.
All right. So first, consider regret, calculate the regret, and then from that, each alternative consider maximum, okay, maximum value, and then from this maximum, consider the lowest. Okay, I will show you. Go back to the name. Where's the minimax regret? Okay, so you can see here the minimax approach. Okay, so based from the name, so this is one. So first you. Let me see, where's my pen here? Okay, here. All right. So regret first, create a regret table. Okay, create a regret table. From this regret table, okay, so consider the maximum value for each decision, for each alternative. Okay, so maximum value from each alternative. From this maximum value, select the minimum one. Okay, so if you forgot how to do it, first, as long as you can remember how to create a regret table, then you should be safe lah. Okay, all right. So develop a regret table, and then from that, for each alternative, consider the maximum one. From this maximum, select the minimum value. Okay, so the name is represent the approach or step for this technique. Okay. Right? Okay. Next is the, with probabilities, means that you can estimate the probabilities for each state of nature. Okay, so consider in this. Okay, so we use this decision tree to visualize the probability here. Okay, consider in this case, in this situation, the decision maker estimated in the future strong demand is more possible probability compared to weak demand. Okay, so they estimate that 0.8 probability for strong demand and 0.2 only 0.2 probability for weak demand. And the probabilities here for this using the expected value approach, this is what we call expected value approach. The probabilities for future events or for state of nature should be same for each alternative. Okay, means that if 0.8 for strong demand and 0.2 for weak demand, each alternative should have a same probability. Okay, 0.8 for strong and 0.2 for weak. 0.8 strong and 0.2 weak demand for each alternative here. Okay. All right, so then, okay, so this is the decision tree. Okay, so expected value approach is easier for you to calculate using a decision tree. Okay, so using the expected value approach, we will consider both situation. We will calculate the expected value approach, take into both consideration when you want to select the alternative. Okay, all right, so this is how. Okay, so this is how calculate expected value approach. This is what we call expected value approach, EV. Okay, so EV. EV1, okay. So 8 here times 0.8 plus 7 times 0.2. Okay, this is how you calculate this one and this one. So you get 7.8. Okay, so next is you calculate the expected value approach for the second alternative. Okay, so EV expected value, second expected value approach. Okay, so 14 times 8, 0.8. Okay, and 5 times by 0.2, then you plus it. Okay, so you get 12.2 million. Okay, the third expected value approach. Okay, third one. Okay, third expected value approach is that 20 times 0.8 plus negative 9 plus 0.2. Okay, then you get a 14.2. Okay, so this is how you calculate the expected value approach. Okay, so consider both state of nature when you want to select the alternative. Okay. Okay, so this is the value, expected value approach for each decision. From this one, because this is a maximize profit, to maximize profit, so select the highest EV value, okay, or the best EV value. When you take into both situation into consideration, you can see the expected value, the highest expected value is that select the large complex here. Okay, so decision using expected value approach, consider both probability. Okay, so company will select the large condominium. Okay. Okay. Okay tak? Simple je. It's quite easy using the expected value approach. Okay. As long as you consider consider both chance of event. Okay. So select if in the minimization problem, for minimization problem, select the lowest value. Okay. The best value is that the lowest one. For maximization, the best value is the highest value. Okay. All right. So additional in the probability is that, let's say you can get additional information. Okay. You can get additional before you make a decision. Maybe you want to do some, you want to to get additional information, you can estimate a situation. So you can estimate state of nature accurately. Okay, all right. So this is additionally from the expected approach. Okay, so either EV of sample information, you have a sample information, or EV expected value of perfect information. You can estimate you take into consideration for both. Means that if you get additional information about the state of nature, then maybe you can you can make a better decision. Okay. Okay, so near sample information means that if you're able to collect additional information, and then maybe you want to get some sample information about state of nature. Okay, sample ni, if you use the sample, there is a prior the probability assessment. Before you do assessment, before you calculate the EV value, then you get some additional information. Okay, all right. Sorry. Okay, all right. So in this case, PDC management. Did I record? Oh, okay. Okay, so with sample, first we go to sample information. Okay, so it still use the same company illustration. Okay, so now PDC management, PDC company is considering a 6-month market research study designed to learn more about the potential market acceptance of the PDC condominium project. So if they do that, a study, market study or research, market research ni, and so they will get, they will anticipated with 2 results. Either they will get a favorable result or they will get unfavorable result. Okay, right? So they consider whether to do a market research or not. So before they make a decision. Okay, so a favorable report means that they express to the individuals or potential customer express the interest into purchase their condominium. But unfavorable report ni means that the person who they contact tu, their potential customer, they express interest to not purchase the, only few that show interest, but others maybe not interest to purchase the condominium. Okay, okay, so to visualize this problem, okay, so PDC ni, PDC 3. Okay, so now the first, before you make a decision whether to select the small, medium or large complex, so the first decision is you have to do whether to do a market research or not to do a market research. Okay, so that is your first decision, preliminary, prior the actual punya decision ni. Okay, so your decision is either to do a market study or not to do a market study. So you will start with your decision. Remember, the branch after a square tu is to represent the decision. Okay, when you do a market research, then you will get 2 outcomes. Okay, either favorable outcome or unfavorable outcome. Remember that you cannot control this outcome. Okay, favorable report or unfavorable report, you cannot control. It depends to those who you contact whether they interest to buy your condominium or not. Okay, so this is the 2 state of nature, whether you get the favorable report or unfavorable report. Okay. All right, so if you get the unfavorable report, then you have to make a decision. Either you select the small, medium or large complex. Okay, and same as if you get the unfavorable report, then you will have to make a decision which one you will select, either small, medium or large. Okay, favorable or unfavorable, you cannot, the branch after that is you cannot control, so means that state of nature. But small, medium and large is a favorable report, so that's why the favorable report, but sorry, that is your decision. Okay, so means that the branch here is you should put square because the branch after that is a decision. Okay, all right. They are the symbol. The symbol for decision tree you cannot change simply. Okay, if you put here square and this one is you put circle here and this one square, totally wrong. Your decision tree totally wrong. Okay, all right. Okay, so next punya decision ni, the first decision is no market research study. Okay, so if no market research study, then you have, if you don't have, if you already make a decision, no market research study, then the next one is you have to make a decision either to select the small, medium, or large complex. Okay, no more state of nature lah, because when you say okay, no more, we will not do the market study, market research. Okay, then another thing is not state of nature. Then another thing is that another decision that you have to make. Okay, that's why after branch here, directly to the another square, because after branch after that is a decision. Okay, so it's a decision, and then the outcome for each decision consider same lah. Okay, for strong, weak demand, and for each decision here we consider same. Okay, only the probability might be different here. Okay, with the probability. Okay, so now consider that the probability get a favorable report is 0.77, but unfavorable report is 0.23 only, the probability here. Okay, when you get the favorable report, okay, you can see here, because you already get the report, you do the study that more potential customers show interest to purchase the condominium. In that case, you can see that the probability for strong demand is higher, quite high compared to weak demand. They estimated that probability for strong demand is 0.94 with the favorable report, because you already make a study. You do study there. Okay. For unfavorable report, you get, if you get unfavorable report with probability 0.23, you can see that strong demand, of course, strong demand should be lower than weak demand, because the report already show you only few customer interest to purchase the condominium. Okay, but don't worry, this one is provided. Okay, probabilities is provided to you. Okay, only that I will explain why is it this is different from the favorable report. Probability for strong and weak demand for unfavorable different from the strong and weak for favorable report. Okay, because you already make a study prior that. Okay, all right, so because you already get the unfavorable report, few only show interest. Of course, you can say that is quite a weak demand. Okay, all right, in this case, after you do some calculation, you estimate that probability for strong demand is only 0.35. and probability for weak demand is only 0.65. Okay, for this all these three decision. Okay, no market study, we take original lah as the original 0.8 and 0.2. Okay, for probability as previous lah. Okay, so this is same as EV. Okay, common EV. All right, then you have to calculate EV for each branch ni. Okay, for the end here, for each branch. Okay, for each one here, 3 for favorable report here, and this is for unfavorable report. You have to calculate everything. Okay, consider both. Okay, this is as previous. Okay, all right, for these 3, then you have to select the best profit for each another branch here. Okay, right, you can see for favorable report, your decision is large. You will select a large condominium. For unfavorable report, your decision is to select the medium, and no market study, same, of course, large condominium. Okay, same as previous. Okay, okay, go back. Favorable report, your outcome is 18.26. Okay, transfer from here. Okay, 18.26 the outcome lah. Okay, you consider outcome 18.26, and unfavorable report here is the outcome is 8.15. Okay, Because you have another decision to make whether to do a market study or not. Okay. All right. So favorable report and unfavorable report. This is the outcome for favorable report and unfavorable if you do a market study. Okay. All right. And then take calculate for EV for market study. You can see you get a 15.93 million. No market study same as previous 14.2 million. Okay. All right. So based from this one, then of course the decision here to conduct a market study. Okay. So if the market research is favorable, okay, so you do conduct study, then you have another outcome. So if the market research is favorable, then the company will construct the large condominium based on this one. Okay, large condominium. If the market research is unfavorable, then it will construct the medium complex. Okay, so your decision, first decision to do a market study. So based from that outcome, from that market study too is either favorable or unfavorable. Then favorable, construct the large condominium. If unfavorable, then you will construct the medium complex. Okay, no, if because you already select this market study, do a market study. Okay. All right. So the expected value of sample information. Okay. Originally, before you do some research study, market study ni, you will only get 14.2 million. Okay. We will get only 14.2 million. So the difference when you do a market study is that 15.93 from here, 15.93 minus 14, then you get the difference, means that you can increase your profit about 1.73 million if you do a market study. Okay, this is what we call expected value of sample information, EVSI. Okay, means that if you do market study, then you will increase the profit about 1.73 million. Okay lah, you can increase your profit. However, if there is any cost, they mention a cost for you to do a market research needs will cost to the company about 2 million. Let's say there is a cost 2 million cost to do a market study, and you able to increase only 1.73 million. So the difference here cannot cover the cost to do a market study. Market research study, isn't it? Okay, so probably even though the highest value, you can see that is the market study highest value, but consider the cost involved, maybe you make a decision not to do a market study, not to conduct a market study. So you must consider if there is additional cost or not compared to what you can increase you get from that sample information. Okay. Understand or not? In this case, they will not, they don't mention lah any cost for you to do market study. Okay, of course, just consider based on, oh, okay, you can increase the profit about 1.7. Okay, you can do. But if there is any information mentioned that to do a market study, they need a cost about, I mean that more than 1.73 million, of course, we will mean that you shouldn't consider to do a market study because the cost is more compared to what you will gain from that market study. Okay. Okay. All right. So the next one is expected value of perfect information. Okay. That one is sample information. This is the perfect information. So let's say you can get additional information. You get apa? Means that you get a perfect information about state of nature. Okay, you get you are able to gain that information state of nature. Okay, all right. Let's say okay. In this problem, okay. So when I mean that if there is a strong demand, okay. Okay, so if the strong demand, then you will gain 20 million. Okay, if that time is a weak demand, okay, so then you will gain only 7 million, the highest one. Okay, consider the highest value because this is profit. Okay, so the best value. Okay, so in this how to calculate the perfect information here? Consider the best value from each state of nature. Okay, all right. So in this case, for strong demand is 20 million and weak demand is 7 million. Okay, and then you calculate. You use the original probabilities 0.8 for strong and 0.2 for weak demand, and then put the include the equation using the highest value for strong demand and the highest value for weak demand. Okay, so this your value, expected value with perfect information is 17.4. Okay, so then you can see that if you able to gain additional, that perfect information about state of nature, okay, you can increase your profit more compared to if you are not able to get or estimate your state of nature here. So in you compare here, if you cannot estimate you cannot get additional information about state of nature, you're able to get only 14.2 million. But if you're able to gain the perfect information about state of nature, you're able to increase your profit to 17.4 million. Okay, then you consider, you can see you can increase about 3.2 million for you to obtain a perfect information. So if you're able to get additional information about state of nature, then probably it's better for the company to get that additional information. Okay, same as previously, if the cost to obtain more additional information is more compared to what you can gain, you can gain from that, then probably that you don't have to find that information. Okay, so it depends to the cost. If there is a no cost involved, then it's better we can suggest to the decision maker that it's better for you to gain additional information or to get the perfect information about the state of nature there. Okay. All right. So that's all. That's the end of the chapter 15. Okay. Any question? Do you have any question?
No, doctor.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So if you don't have yes.
I want to ask, I think it's not regarding the material, but I just curious. You just, from the previous study that we learned, there is a probability, right? And if the question, from the question that you are given, that you will give the probability, but if the case is, we face the real situation in the world, in the real world, how can we measure the probability?
Okay, so in the real world, okay, so if you are decision maker in the real world, the first thing, of course, you are decision maker, of course, you have the experience, okay? Right? So when you have the experience, you know exactly to estimate in the certain situation. You can see every manager, they know, okay, depends, especially in the economic situation, they can estimate, do some estimation for certain situation. Okay, normally lah, in the real situation, if you are a decision maker, because this is a decision analysis, of course, for the decision maker, for you to make a decision, experience, and also sometimes they based on the report, on the economic report, they can see, they will study, then they can do some estimation for the events. Okay, especially let's say when you do some investment, when you want to do some investment, gold, it doesn't matter like any investment, you will do some study to get to see how market will react, how market in the future, how market will the demand in the return in the next year. You will do normally the investor, of course, they have to make analysis, so they will do some study to get that probability. Okay, so in this case, you can see that this company will, then you should invest here. So that's how normally you get the probability for you to make a decision. Okay, probability the probability is, of course, you have to do some study and also based on your experience, what you have gone through. So because this is, we talk about a decision maker, and it's also is available in the any report, market report. You can do some research lah to get that probability in the real situation. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Okay, any more question? Okay, if you don't have any question, okay, next week, I'm not in the office, okay, so I have to go, I have a workshop outside UPM. So what will I do is that I will share with you a pre-recorded lecture, okay. I think I don't have any time to record a new things for you, but I will use last semester lecture, the same thing, the content is same, but maybe you will hear some question for the from another students, okay. All right, I will share with you a pre-recorded regarding about chapter chapter 6, and then chapter 6, okay. About chapter 6, and you have to watch that video, okay. For that period too, you have to watch during class hour only, and you have to key in your attendance at that time. I will that video and attendance will available during that time, and inform you the password. I will do some extra additional record just to inform you the password for attendance that day. Okay, I will share include that video lah, and pre-recorded video, and also video with the password. Okay, during that time, that's consider your attendance, but you have to watch during the class time. Okay, Thursday 1 to 2, and Friday 3 to 5. 2 pre-recorded, 2 good for attendance. Okay, understand or not?
Okay, Doctor.
Okay, the passcode I will share in the video. Okay, so maybe not in the beginning, maybe in the middle, or maybe in the end. Okay.
Doctor.
Okay, if there is no more question, that's all from me. I will see you next 2 weeks. Okay, right? So bye bye. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.